is what is an operator, what is an access group, rule set version, rule set stack, what are these and how this will be useful in the application. So this is more of theory part. If you understand these topics, you will get to know how the Pega application will be working. So first we'll start with the operator. So for any application, it may be Pega application, it may be Java application, it may be web application, it may be any application. If you want to use that application, you need to log in first. In order to log in into the application, you need to do something. So here also, in Pega also, even for developers or even for anybody, so it may be end user, it may be anyone, they need to log in into Pega application. So anyone may be individual, it may be organization, it may be anyone, for that matter anyone who can log in into Pega application, those people are called operators. Those people are called operators. This is operator is equivalent to the user. So in the real-time world, in generic words, we call them as user, but in Pega development terminology, we call them as a operator. So by definition, anyone who can log in into Pega application. So anyone who can log in into Pega application, those people are called operators. So every operator, so in the user, if you take as a user, every user will be having username and password. So that is mandatory. So here also we have operator ID. Operator ID is the operator ID is equivalent to the username, and the password is common password. So if you see, operator is equivalent to the user. This is operator ID is equivalent to the username and password. This is same. So in the outside Pega world, we'll use these terms like user, username, password. Within the Pega development time, we'll use operator, operator ID, password. So if you open my application, I'm logging with some username, right? Some username and password. So that we call as operator ID and operator password. So let's say I'm using some username and some password here. So for some application. So this is called, so in generic world, I mean the end users may call it as user, but as a Pega developer, we call it as a operator. This is the operator, this is the password, the operator ID and password. So I can log in into some application. So when I log in into this application, okay, how can the system knows I'm getting some application, but I have a lot of applications in my system. I have a lot of applications, I have a lot of operators in my system. How can the system determining this is the correct application or this is the correct portal? So when I log in as a developer, I'm getting developer portal, right? And let me log in with a different user ID. So when I log in as a manager, let's say, so here I'm getting different portal. So how the system is determining this is the correct application and this is the correct portal for the particular user. So what is happening internally, how the system is determining the output, the portal eventually. So you will see the diagram of what is the relation between this operator. You will see now. So let's say this is an operator. Operator will be there. He is an operator. And application will be there somewhere. Let's say here we have applications. list of applications is there in my system. So let's say app A, app B, app C is there. So I have a lot of applications in my system and I have operators in my system. Now how is when I give some username and password, when I operator ID and password, so how the system, I'm giving some output here. Some portal is coming as output. So some portal and application is my output. How the system is doing. So to determine that, internally every operator is associated to the access group, a term called access group. So what is the access group? Every operator is associated to access group. Let's say here some access group name is there. So access group name generally will be like this: application name and then the role he is performing. Let's say manager. The access group dictates, so the access group dictates access group. Access group dictates or defines the application. One thing, I will do two things. So access group will do two things. One is it will tell what is the application we have access. In a simple words I'm writing. What is the application I have access? Access group will do two things. One, it will tell what is the application we have access. We have means operator have access, and what is the role he is performing. He is performing in the application, and what is the portal is associated to access group. So all the three things will be defined in a single rule called access group. So access group dictates whether the application the operator have access, what is the role he is performing, and what is the portal is associated with that access group. So if you take this example, so when I log in as a manager, I am getting manager. That means that this is a SCT application, some hiring application. So the syntax will be like this. Syntax will be app name hyphen role name. Okay, if it is a developer or administrator, will be administrator, developer here, and then here if it is a manager, will be manager here. If it is a user, the role name will be user, or app name will be same. Like if it is application name is demo hyphen colon administrator, demo colon manager, demo colon, and then user. So if you take that as an example, so I am giving app A F5 manager. That means that I have access to the application A, and that within that I am saying that I am performing manager role. So by saying this, so because operator have app associated with the access group, so then what system will do? When you log in, system opens the operator record. Already operator's rules are there. So it will open the operator record. It will search for the access group configuration. It will search for the access group configuration. Within the access group configuration, so what is the default access group for that? It will check for that. And then every access group will be like this. So the syntax will be like this, and whatever the default is selected, that will be displayed basically. So by seeing the access group, I can know what is the application. I know what is the role he is performing, and we can also know the portal rules will be associated with This is the portal rules again. Portal rules will be, portal is also associated with the access group. So let's say by default there will be three portals, one for developer, one for manager, one for user. So let's say if it is a manager, for the manager access group, you will associate manager portal. So all the things I have here. Operator is anyway associated with the access group. Access group is saying what is the application I have, what is the role I am performing, and what is the portal. So output will be, so when the system executes all these things, the output will be return the portal. I'm displaying some portal here. So what is the portal here? In this case, it is a manager portal. So that is what happening internally. So when you log in, system opens the operator record, and it will evaluate what is the access group that is associated with the operator. So the access group detects, as I said, three things. One is what is the application. So by this I can know what is the application and what is the role he is performing, and then what is the portal. So anyway, I have portal rules. I will associate this portal rules to here, so I can know all the things in the access group. So to display the particular portal. So this is how internally happens when you log in as a operator. So let's see. So what are the different where to configure this one, this operators in the system? I mean, where to configure operators and where to configure access groups, and how to associate these operators to access group. We will see this one. So any doubts here?
Who will configure the operators? Developer will configure the operator IDs or somebody else?
Yeah, that's the question. So when you create a new application, by default system will create three operators. By default, three, one for developer, one for manager, one for user. The system will generate. But as a developer, I mean, in the project there will be multiple developers, right? Multiple developers will be there. Multiple developers will be working on the same project. So in that case, so if somebody, I mean, if you log in, I mean, if you are a new user, I mean, if you are a new developer, so the old developer, I mean, the old developer will create operators for you, or else, so in some companies, a separate team will be there who will creating these operators, like administrative team will be there. They might be creating the operators. So if you are a new, as a developer, you can create it.
Okay. In this context, I have one more question. Okay, some of the user IDs will be authenticated against the LDAP, like under SSOs, right?
Yes, yes.
So in that case, Pega operators will be mapped with the LDAP, or else?
In the LDAP, what will happen is, so generally, I will come to that point. So here we are saying that everything will be up. I mean, it will open the operator ID and we will check it. Say, let's take an example. I say now TCS want to build the application in Pega, and they want to, so they want to log in, and the employees needs to log in into the application, obviously. So if we, as per our definition so far, if you want to log in into Pega application, so we should have some operator ID and password. So if they have 3,50,000 employees, so it's not, so we need to create 3,50,000 employees, employee operator records in the system if they want to log in. But even just to create them, it will take a lot of time, and that is not a best practice. So that is, if the number of users are more in the end user perspective, for the end user application is not a good way to use. So in that case, what we will do? So in every company, every organization will maintain their user servers that we call them as LDAP servers. So every big or middle organization will maintain their user details in a separate server. So we call them as a LDAP servers. So Pega have capability to connect to LDAP servers. So we will read that data. So whatever the username, password, those things we have, we'll read the data, and then we will I mean, on the fly we will create the operators for that employee. If the operator is already there, so no record will be created. So if the operator is not present, but you don't need to manually create it. System on the fly will create the operators when you log in the first time. I mean that will be authenticated. That is a integration part with LDAP. That is required only if you have more number of employees. I mean more number of the count is more. Definitely it's not a good way to create operators and to do that one. That is what you are asking.
Yeah, that is LDAP is only for authentication purpose, right?
Yes.
So okay, so if you use LDAP also, we have to use the Pega operator IDs.
No need. That's what I'm saying. Operator details, user details will be there in LDAP only. Like what is the username? Or so if you are a TCS employee, obviously your employee ID, your username or your password will be stored in your LDAP details. So you need to provide your operator that you will log in with your username and password only. Maybe your username is employed and password will be something. The system will create internally on the fly. System will create. So you don't need to manually create those rules. System will create the operators with that employee IDs.
Okay.
And but Pega will work only on the operators because let's say that we need to do some routing, we need to route some work. So the routing can be configured based on the operators only. Because of that reason, so operators are must be created, but we don't need to manually create them. System will on the fly will create that.
Okay. And the Pega will support SSO also?
Single sign-on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it will also support single sign-on. It will support single sign-on. It will support LDAP. All the authentications it will support. You can also create your own custom authentication as well. So if you have one requirement, you can also create custom authentication.
Okay. And for SSO also, Pega is providing any integrations?
No, I mean for SSO generally that is single sign-on, right? So for that there won't be any servers. You need to configure the application like modifying the web.xml or context.xml, and you need to write the Java coding sometimes, or else you need to customize some activities will be there. You need to customize that one to according to your requirements. So already activity rules will be there. So you don't need to build the logic from the scratch. You just need to customize some of the rules to use the single sign-on.
Okay, thank you.
And then we are just So now let me log in as a developer. So I'm logging as a admin.demo.com. This is one developer. So when I log in like this, system is internally determining opening the operator ID. Let's open the operator ID. So to open the operator ID, you need to go to operator menu. This is called operator menu. You need to go to operator menu. You see operator here. So you can see operator here. So you can open that. This is the operator record. This is the operator record. System will try to open this. The system will open this record, and then it will open this access group details. The system will know what is this is the configuration. This is the access groups associated with the operator. So before going to that, let's discuss the remaining things as well. So here the first profile tab, we will talk about, let's say, what is the different things like basic details, your profile, first name, last name, full name. So if you want to create operators, but during development we don't use LDAP. So once the application is deployed into production or somewhere, generally in that case only we'll use LDAP. For developers we don't need LDAP authentication because developers maybe hardly maybe 20-30 will be there, so we can create the operators. But once the product is moved to production, for the end users they can use LDAP. So here you can give the basic information of the operator, and then you can see application access. Application access. This will dictate what is the application this particular operator have access. You can see here. So I have a lot of applications. You can see a lot of entries are there. Out of lot of entries, I can see one is selected. One is selected here. That selection indicates that this is the default application. This is the default application I will see when I log in into the application. So I have access to 4 applications. These are 4 different applications. This is demo. This is the application name. This is the role I said, right? So this is the application name. This is one application. This is one application. This is one application. This is one application. So this particular operator have access to 4 applications, but by default, I'm displaying demo application. Demo application. Then what about remaining? If I want to access remaining applications, how can I do it? So for that, once you log in into the current application, you can go to application menu. You can go to application menu. This is called application menu. Go to application menu. Here you can see switch application. You can see switch application is there. You can see all the whatever this operator have access, all the applications are displaying here. So right now you can see indication as of this. Right now I am in demo application. Let's say I want to go to hiring process. This is a different application. I am going to hiring process application. Then, so you're going to hiring process application. So that means that as a single operator, I can access multiple applications. So what is the use of this one? So I will tell you use case here. So let's say you are ICICI employee, and as an ICICI employee, you cannot restrict yourself like I will do only this kind of work. You may need to handle loans, you may need to handle mutual funds, you may need to handle credit cards, you may need to handle all the things, all sort of works. But ICICI is building different applications for different purposes. For credit cards, one application. For handling savings accounts, one application. For other things, credit cards for one application. But as a ICICI employee, you must be having access to all the applications. In that case, you need to list down what is the applications you have access for that operator, so that he can switch whenever he wants. Okay, and if you open this access group record, so as I said, this access group is associated. It will tell 3 things. One is application name, one is role name, I said, right? So let's open this. This is one rule. Again, access group is also one rule. So wherever you can see this magnifying symbol, so this magnifying symbol is there, right? This indicates that we can open the rule from there. So click on that. In particular, you can see this is access group. This access group, you can see the application name. So what is the application I have access? I can configure here. What is the application I have access? I can configure here, but 99% of the time we don't need to create the access groups, but because by default system will create 3 operators, right? Administrator, manager, user, and for 3 operators, 3 access groups will be created. One administrator user access group, one manager access group, one user access group. If you want to create a new access group, that is very rare, but if you want to create a new access group, you need to configure these things. That is what we are discussing now. So when you create a new application, what is a new access group? You need to keep 3 things in mind. So what is the application that access group should have access? So this is the application. You don't need to remember the application name. Just click down arrow to display all the applications available in the system. Just select whatever the application you want to. And then so you can see here some in the bottom, you can see some blue color triangle is there. So whenever you can see that symbol, that indicates that some help is available, some suggestion is available. You don't need to remember the rule names there. So here it is application rule name. You don't need to remember it. So here also version number. You don't need to remember the version because this is help suggestions available. Just click down arrow to display available versions for that application. So all these are help suggestions are there. You no need to remember the things. You just click down arrow to display the suggestions, to display all the rules, corresponding rules. You can see again available portals. So available portal, this means these are the rules again. If you can open the rule again, this is the portal rules, and each rule is associated with the access group. So you can see one is default selected. That indicates that when this particular access group user or operator logged into this application, so they can see developer portal. They can see developer portal. I have access to other portals as well. This user have access to 3 portals, but by default when operator logs in, he can see developer portal. That is why I am seeing developer portal. So if I want to open other portals, how can I do it? You need to go for launch. You can see this launch will display the remaining portals you have access. The launch will display remaining portals you have access. So let's remove this one now.
Subhash, Venkat here.
Yeah.
I have one more question. So a guy is providing by default when you create application like developer and manager and user portals, right?
Correct.
So can we create one more category of portal also? Like suppose if application wanted to access by vice president, he wanted to only review the reports, analytics kind of thing. So can we create such kind of portal also?
Yeah, you can create.
Particular application.
This time I can create the portals, but most of the times what we will do is
If you
we'll
create a new portal, do we need to customize the theme or layouts or something?
Yes, we need to customize. That we will discuss in the I mean UI topic, how to customize the screens. Okay.
Okay.
So here, this is the portal, and I'm removing the portal, user portal. So when I remove the user portal, and now you can see when I go to launch, you can see only one, because this user have developer access to developer portal and manager portal, and if you want to, you can see now only manager is coming. It means that whatever the portals I have access, I'm displaying here. So this particular access group user have access to three users. I mean three portals. You can see now two will come. Okay, and the roles. So this available roles. So you can see what is the role he is performing. So the role generally again dictates that what is the work he needs to perform. So if you open one role here, you can get to know. So this is common to security topic. This is very advanced, but I will give you at a high level. Generally, this topic will be discussed in LSA level. So generally, at a high level, if I want to give, what it will do is, this is the access role, and this role will dictate in which class. I mean, we have a lot of classes. Which class I have access, other class what I can do. So there is a rating. There is a rating will be given like this. So let's say this class is there, code Pega. So code for pork, this is one class. For this class, what I have access I have. Those kind of details I can configure here. So we didn't discuss what is a class and those things. I don't want to go much deeper here. So, but this at a high level, if I want to say, this role will dictate the class level authorization. Not authentication. In this case, the authorization. So authentication is already done. Authentication means, so when you log in, your login username and password. So comparing the username and password is the authentication. So once you compare, what type of work you should do, what type of access I can give for you to do. So that is called authorization. Those authorization details we will keep it here. But for we don't need to modify this one directly here. That is very rare. So we have a wizards or tools for that to provide some security constraints. So we have access manager here. Here we will configure to, if you want to provide more authorization, if you want to provide some authorization security details here. So here I don't want to discuss right now because this is dependent on multiple topics. So once we, and moreover this is LSA topic we require, at the end of the course we will discuss. And that access roles will dictate those kind of authorization details. So we have three roles. Out of these three roles, what system will do? System will club all the things, and system will go for the permissible role. So let's say if I use the same authorization here, and here I have given less access, here I have given more access. Let's say, so it will go for less access only, because it will always go for permissible role. So wherever the less security is there, I mean wherever you have less authorization, it will go for that one. Okay, if there is any overlapping, system will analyze that one. It will always go for less permissible role. That is very advanced right now. So this is security topics. So security, if you want to know security, you need to know you need to have full knowledge on Pega. Then you can discuss that one. So at the end of the course, if it is required, we will discuss. Otherwise, this one then we will discuss in LSA course. And this is about access group. So the row application, access group, and then portals. And then coming to operators, here we have one more, we will discuss remaining concepts as well. So localization is there here. So what is the localization? So where do we use it? So this localization will be helpful if the application is running in multiple geographical regions. Let's say the same if you want to run the same application in India, in Italy, or in Japan, or in the US. So India and US people can understand English, there is no issue, because by default English is the default language. But if you take about China or Italy or Japan, let's say they are not good at English, so they need their local language. They want to display everything in the Italian, in China in Chinese language. So for China, for Chinese and for Italian language, I cannot create the separate applications. So that is not a good way, creating separate applications for each and every country. So what I will do, I will create the application in English only, but while rendering the screen, I will change the language into corresponding language. For that, so Pega will provide language packs. You need to install the language packs, and here once you install the language packs, you need to give the locally. So localization locally will be there. So there is a standard. It's not like Pega given standard. You can search in Google. Localization locally will be there. If you want to go for Italy, to give like IT_IT. The first IT will stands for the country name. The second _IT, this IT stands for the language we have. So that means that whenever this operator logs in, I want to display everything in the Italian language. So provided when the Italy language packs are installed. So when you install the language packs and when you change the locally here, so everything will be automatically converted into into corresponding language. So you need to install the language packs for that. So you can see localization localist will be there. Again, so English for English you don't give any locally and HI. IN stands for India, HI stands for Hindi. So if you want to display everything in Hindi, you need to install the Hindi language pack and then you need to give it, then automatically the system will convert it. Computer. Locally. Localization locally codes, language codes. You can see here, if you go for India, so Bengali India, the code is BN. So like that, every two letters will be there for each and everything. So India is there on two places. Hindi is not there here. So generally we will be giving two words like this, the code name and then IN. Initially we are giving here locally code is Arabic. I think first we need to give the country HI-country. We should follow this way, language name and then the country name. Okay, but this is so based on the language pack you install. So if you just change it and if you save it, it won't work automatically. You need to install you need to get the language packs for Pega. So you need to get in touch with the Pega people. They will provide language pack for each and every application. I mean, whichever the language you need to buy. This is a license based one. You need to buy that and then you will get the everything in the corresponding language. So for that reason we will use it. And then going to work. So this is the basic profile configuration, like what is the basic details and what is the language you can see and then what is the access you have. And then if you go to work tab of the operator, there are a lot of topics again here coming to picture. So you can see routing. As I said, for now don't ask me what is routing. At high level I can say this is a BPM process, we need to assign the work. That is called routing. So for that we need to configure something. So when you join as a company, when you join a company in any software company or somewhere, so you need to, so you belong to some unit, you belong to some team. Some team should be there for you. So when you log in ICSA, like let's say Infosys.com, so they will say like you belong to engineering department and so unit. So you need to modify that which unit belongs to in the organization. So as an operator, as a user, as an operator, which unit belongs to. So you need to mention that one. Here it will display the unit names. Basically in real time you will get only one organization, but I have a lot of demos, so I have a lot of organization names here. But in real time we will get only one organization name like this, and then it will display what are the divisions, what are the units we have. Okay, and then work group. So when you belong to some team, so in generic terminology, when you log in when you joined as a when you joined a company, you belong to some team. So for the team also you will be given some name, right? So here also in Pega, so which team you belongs to will dictates in the work. Work group is nothing but a group of people working together for a common objective. So we call them as a work group here. So work group is equal to the team. In generic terminology, we call them as a team. So which team you belongs to, you need to mention here. So we create work group, and every team will be having will have manager. So if you open the work group is also a rule again, and then you can open this, and then every work group will be having a manager. Every team will be having a manager. I'm just to usually remember that I'm comparing with generic words. So every team will be having a manager. So every work group will be having manager. So this is the main purpose of this work group is for the manager to know who is reporting to him. So as a manager, if you log in as a manager, so because you are the head for the work this team or this work group. So when you log in as a manager, this manager portal, you can see your teammates. You can see your teammates in your portal. System will automatically display that your teammates in your portal here. Because I log in as administrator, if I open the manager portal somewhere here, you can see this is your teammates. Okay, these are the teammates belongs to you. It will display like that. So the main aim of this work group is to know the manager who is reporting to him. And then we have work basket concept. Again, everything is interlinked here. So work basket is again a rule. Generally, we will be using in routing. While we're discussing about routing, we'll discuss at that time. For now, leave it that one. So you belongs to, as an operator, you belongs to one team that is called work group, and every work group will be having a manager. That's the thing you need to remember here. And then sometimes, so this is kind of reporting purpose we will use it, this work group. So as a user, sometimes they will ask you to whom you want to report to. Let's say you raise some certification request or some, so let's say as a user you logged into the application, and then you need to get the approval from your manager. So that scenario will come. So how can the system knows who is your manager? So by using the work group record, it will open the work group record. In the work group record, already a manager is configured. So by that configuration, system will get the manager record and send the approval case or approval assignment, approval task to the manager. So to know that purpose, to identify your manager, generally we are configuring the work group, because during the processing of your application, let's say companies are providing loan for the employees. When you apply for a loan, so you need to get approval from your manager. We are saying that. So when you log in as an employee and you apply for a loan, so the work should be routed to the manager. How can the system knows who is your manager? So theoretically, I mean, conceptually we know it. This is my manager, this is my manager. But how can the system knows it? So system knows that manager details by using the work group. So during routing, during reporting process, system will use these records. That is why we are configuring here. Sometimes what happens is you don't directly report to manager. Additionally, you will report to some other person. If you have that kind of scenario, so in most of the world, we don't directly report to manager. We will have a team leads kind of thing in the middle way. So if you are reporting to team leader somewhere, so the team leader is also an operator in the system, right? So you need to mention that name here. So just click down your display. Yes. Hello. Someone is asking the question. Okay. So it will display all the operator IDs available in the system. You just need to give the operator name, whichever you are reporting to whom you are reporting. You need to give here. When you give the reporting, it will give you the complete structure as well. Let's say I'm giving same operator name, admin at, let's say this is some .com. If you do reporting structure, if you open reporting structure, will display reporting structure here. It will display the reporting structure like this. And then, so the skills is required again. I mean, skills may not be required at this level, but doing routing again, that is, all these configurations become routing. So this is configure routing. All this will be used in routing. So I will discuss at that time in detail. But for now, keep it, leave it like this, because I don't want to confuse you more. Without discussing that one, it will be more confusion for you. The skills, work baskets, and this configuration we will do at the time of discussing about routing concept. So scheduling. Coming to scheduling, so here we will configure like which calendar this operator follows, and if you're on leave, so to track them, we'll give it here. So why we track them here is, so why do we need to track the leaves in the system? Let's say I'm assigning some work for you. If you are on leave, if you are let's say tomorrow I'm assigning some work, and and there is a deadline saying that you need to complete within 2 days. But you are on leave for 2 days. So let's say you are leave for 16th to 17, and in that time you got one work is assigned. Already I configured like that, so you are receiving the work. In the I configured the application in such a way that you are receiving the application. You are receiving the work. So in that case, because you are on leave, we cannot perform that work anyway. Because you are on 2 days leave, you cannot perform that. In that case, so but the work should be completed within the 2 days. But you are on leave for 2 days, the work should be completed in 2 days. In that time, the system should analyze the substitute operator, who is your when you are not available, when the work is there with you, when you are not available, system will check for the substitute operator. So you need to again to identify the best substitute operator. It's not like hard coding substitute operator. So we need to use some decisioning to identify substitute operator. So we'll use decision tree for that. So this is the sample decision tree. So this will identify, this rule will identify the substitute operator, return the operator ID, and then when you are not available, when you receive the work, then automatically that work will be routed to this person. So whatever the output is coming as part of this to that person, the work will be routed. And then even if he is not available, so the person is also not available, then you can go for default to assignee. In general, default to assignee will be your manager. So you need to give your manager details here, your manager ID. Now, so once you assign the work to manager, what will happen? So you need to manually assign that. Every work when all people are in leave, so generally the work will be routed to manager. Manager manually will assign them back to the users, so based on the availability of the users. Okay, so to do those things, the work to manage the work, generally this work tab will be configured. So you will get to know more about this routing while discussing about routing concept. And security is if you want to change the password, you can change the password. By default, the password would be rules. So if you want to change it, you can change it. And this rule checkout and these things again we'll discuss about this in the check-in checkout functionalities. Okay, this is history. So in the history you can see full history, you can see here. So this will tell you who modified this rule. So who modified, when modified. It's not every history will be maintained. So it's not like once you modify, so we can track that who modified this and when he modified it. Okay. And this documentation is generally basically useful for maintenance purpose. So what is the purpose of this rule? So this is operator, right? What is the description and what is the usage? So description means you need to give more details about this rule, and then where we are using it. Where we are using it, you need to give more details. This will be applicable. This history tab is applicable for each and every user, for each and every rule. Okay. That is about operators. Any doubts here? Now we need to see how to create the operator. This is like just we discuss different configurations available. Now we need to see how to create the operators. So if you don't have any doubts, I will go to how to create the operators. There are two ways to create the operators. One is, let's say this is developer operator, right? If you want to create one more developer, you can open the developer, this is developer, and you can save as this one. Save as option is available, and just change the operator ID. That is simple one. You developer. Generally, you can give without other symbol, but there is a best notation like giving the organization name. So developer at organization. This is organization name. Hit and open. So all the details will be copied, then you can modify. So if all the details are same, just profile is different, just you can save as, it will save a lot of time. So just give developer and then your email address, developer email. Because remaining details you don't need to configure because all the things are common. So in that case you can just save as like this and you can use it. This is one way. So save as in the existing record. For creating that operator ID you can do two ways, save as in the existing record or else creating the new operator ID from the scratch. So to see all the operator IDs available in the system, we have a landing page for that. To see that you can go to org organization operators. You can see operators are there. So this will be useful to know the what we call all the operators. Org security organization operator. When you click on the operators, you can see this is the landing page for the operators. As I said, landing page means where we can manage all the things. So here operators landing page. This is the operators landing. You need to go to this way and you can see the landing page. This is, you can see all the operators are displayed here. You can see 4 pages are there and each page is displaying 50 records. That means that I have 150 operators nearly. Okay. So from here you can see that new button is coming. The new button is coming. You click on new button. Just give the operator details here. Let's say some test demo.com. I think test 5 to demo.com. You can change the description as well, test 5. Create and open. Now when you create from the scratch, you need to fill all the details. That's what we discussed now. So you need to fill all the details like this. What is your title? What is the access group? Just click down arrow to display all the access groups. Whichever the access group you need to select, just select it, and you can add any number of access group. At least one should be selected. And then you need to fill all the details like that, and you can create it. So this is the way to create the new operators. So from the scratch, or else you can save as the existing operators if the configurations are same. So by default, in your system is creating 3 operators, right? User, manager, and developer, administrator. So if you want the same functionalities, you can just save as that one. So no need to configure much details. You can just change the profile details. So that is about operators. So creating what is the operator and how to configure it and how to create it. Any doubts in this? So we are going very in low pace. So let's discuss only this one. So we need to discuss remaining things again. Take one more day. So rule sets is again a big topic. Takes again some more time. So please join at specific time so that we can cover some more topics. So for today I'm wrapping it here. So tomorrow we'll discuss the remaining topics. We'll continue the remaining topics. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me now on this content. Otherwise, we can wrap it for today, and we'll discuss tomorrow. And moreover, generally we don't take class on weekends, but this weekend on Friday, tomorrow is a Saturday, right? So we'll take this class, and we'll skip Sunday and Monday classes.
Subhas, is it possible to continue weekends also?
That's what I need to see the.
Actually, I have requested, I'm sure. So from your end, is it possible?
Yeah, definitely, if it is possible, definitely we'll take it. But sometimes what happens is we have weekend batches that will start generally in the early mornings for 3 to 4 hours continuously. So
but,
we need to see.
But our time is 6 to 7, right? I think it's.
But for me it's somewhat difficult, right? So sitting continuously 5 to 6 hours is difficult for me. That's what generally we skip the. So, but that is, we will see that one. Anyway, it's not like. So anyway, tomorrow we'll take on Saturday. Okay. It's possible Sunday also we'll take. Okay. Okay. Okay then. We'll continue remaining things like rule sets. Why do we need rule sets? We have a lot of topics associated with that. We'll discuss that one tomorrow.
Okay, and Subhash, one more question. So generally, so operator IDs will be created by the LSA or CSSA role people also can go on create it.
Won't be any roles like that. So even normal developer like you, so they can also develop. They can also create operator IDs. Just save as in record, right? So it's not like some roles should define it. So anybody, even normal CSC developer also can create the operators. But the existing developers will create. So when you join a company, who is working on that on that project, they will create for you. It may be a lead.
It's
it
not
may
administrator or else LSA.
normal developer also can create. But that depends on the company policies. So if the company has policies that only this person should create it, so then in that case only LSA will create it. If there is no policies like that, anybody can create. System won't stop you, right?
Okay.
That depends on the company.
Yeah, will you be able to share the daily these notes?
Yeah, definitely. I will place it in the Google Drive and share them.
Yeah. Along with that, so what is that? Video sessions, if you
video
recording sessions. Yeah, so if you share these notes also will be useful to us. So
videos can be shared by Ashok, and this will be in my local system. I will keep it in some server, and I will share you the link for you so that you can download and you can see.
Okay, thanks.
And regarding the installation, I don't know, did you get the mail from Ashok? If you need the software, you can touch with Ashok and he will provide you the software for installation. So anyway, first 3 to 4 days, the software is not required because we are not doing any application creation or application work. This is more of understanding the Pega tool. So first 3 days or 4 days will be theoretical part, then we'll jump into application creation. Okay. Okay, then we'll wrap it for today and we'll meet tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.